Hello EFD squad and welcome back to Transfer Review with me and Patricio, where we put the transfer rumours from the paper underneath the microscope, you know, just to see what's going on a molecular level. Yeah? But we're going to start this week with a big hitter. It is Verratti to Barcelona, and this is coming from Lacazette. They're going all out this summer.
Yeah, they are on a tear right now. Now, Marco Verratti, look, he's been linked with moves to Juventus before, Man City, Man United. People have been after him for years, and every summer he said he's happy. He said he wants to stay in Paris. This year, things might be different. Supposedly, he's told PSG's new sporting director, Antero Henrique, that he wants a move this summer, and Barcelona are apparently willing to make it happen. 100 million euros. They found down the back of the sofa, and they think they'll pay it for the Italian. Now, this would be a big statement for Ernesto Valverde. Huge. It would really be a way of tearing up his midfield, which it clearly needs after last season. There are some people who are on the outs. There are some people who are getting a little bit old. Chris is going to go into that, I think, in a little bit. And this would really solve a lot of his midfield issues, I think. He's, of course, incredibly technically gifted, Verratti. He can defend, he can attack, he can dribble. He'd add some class. He's one of the few youngsters around who you think, yeah, you wouldn't look out of place at Barcelona.
Definitely.
And just to give you a little example of why we think that's the case, since he joined PSG from Pescara in 2012, he's made the Ligue 1 team of the season on every single occasion in all 5 campaigns he's played in. That is absolutely knocking butts, mate.
Even for Ligue 1, that means there's been no one better in his position in that league, which has a wild pool of talent from the age of 90.
Yeah.
Mental.
Unbelievable. But what are they seeing in his numbers, though? Like, I mean, we all know what he's like to watch, but sometimes you don't exactly know what they're doing on the field that makes you think they're so great.
Yeah.
So what is it?
Well, a lot of people see him as the heir to Xavi Hernandez, but his numbers actually match up better with the likes of Andres Iniesta and those of another Valverde target, which was Ander Herrera, who's already rejected Barca's advances, apparently anyway. But yeah, I mean, the little Italian creates 2 chances per game. That's the same as Iniesta and more than Rakitic. Although I feel like Rakitic has been a little bit hard done by.
I agree.
Fans want him out, they want him replaced, but I think Barcelona, for me, have looked a lot more solid with Rakitic in the side. His output is great, but he is approaching 30, Pat, and with Verratti at 24, maybe he is the long-term option. Rakitic has 2 or 3 years left in his prime. That could be a justification for it, yes. But, I mean, Verratti's making 0.92 interceptions per game. That's very precise, which is dwarfed by Herrera's 3.14, suggesting that maybe Herrera's reading of the game is better, or that Herrera has to make an awful lot more interceptions because Mourinho's, as we know, Mourinho doesn't necessarily enforce a possession-based system, does he? He likes to work on the counter, and we know that PSG dominate possession in Ligue 1, so maybe it's just that Verratti doesn't have as many chances to make those interceptions. However, he does make 3 tackles a game, which is extremely impressive and tops Herrera's figures from last season, as well as all of Barcelona's midfielders, and his pass accuracy is 89%, only beaten by that of Busquets. But going back to that interceptions thing, I think it might be because Thiago Motta, in fact, does that for him. Would you agree?
Well, yeah, Thiago Motta is really the out-and-out DM in that team. And all those midfielders that they have are able to attack and defend. You know, Rabiot can do it, Verratti can do it, Motta can do it, Matuidi can do it. So you do see a bunch of guys who can get forward and are able to tackle back. I think as well with Herrera, you'd actually expect those numbers to go down if he were to join Barcelona, because at Man United, he's often been playing the defensive role because Michael Carrick doesn't have the legs anymore and Paul Pogba needs more freedom to create. I think if he went to Barcelona and he was playing as a pure number 8, then you'd still see some defensive numbers, but you'd expect him to have more attacking freedom as well. So it's kind of hard to see how these players, how their numbers would change if they were to be given a specific role.
I think Motta's the only player in that PSG squad as well that outpasses Verratti. So that would indicate that that is his role, right? Just resetting play, sitting a little bit deeper, making those interceptions. Whereas Verratti, we know he's got incredible dribble numbers too. So he's obviously a bit more adventurous in his play. I think he would fit Barcelona perfectly. I think it's such a natural transition for a player with his skill set. I would be really excited if this happened, guys. But what about you? Let us know in the comments below.
Another giant midfield move now, literally giant in this case, because it's Steven Nzonzi might be on his way to Juventus. This is according to Sky Sports, so this looks pretty reputable.
Legit, yes. The old lady had her advances turned down in January, didn't she? And apparently, Beppe Marotta is flying out to Sevilla this week to try and negotiate a deal for the industrious midfielder, who is understood to be up for the move naturally. Juve, Champions League finalist, he's 6 times Scudetto winners. Of course he wants to go there, but yeah, apparently the move was close in January, but he ended up signing a new contract, didn't he? Maybe he was convinced to stay by Sampaoli, and now Sampaoli's gone. He might want to dog it off, but in that new contract was a release clause of 30 to 40 million euros. I'm not quite sure on the number, but it means Juve would have to pay out of their bottom, Patrick. Is he worth it? I mean, this is a guy who passed through Stoke and Blackburn. How did he go unnoticed? I mean, either way, Sevilla are going to make a huge profit on him, aren't they? Having only paid 8 million.
Well, that is the Sevilla way, isn't it? I mean, now he's been playing obviously for a good side. He's been getting Champions League experience, and I think it's quite easy to see where he'd fit in at Juve. They've got Khedira and Marquisio, and he'd definitely be in that role rather than the Pjanic role. So somebody who can tackle back and somebody who's going to keep play ticking over. He had a very, very taxing season at Sevilla, I would say that. When Sampaoli came in, Sampaoli quite likes to have one guy in the middle of the park who does everything. But with Chile, he had Arturo Vidal, so it was going to be a tall order for Nzonzi to match up to that. I think he's done really, really well this season. He's played in a 3-3-1-3, he's played in 3-4-3s, he's played in basically every formation under the sun, under Sampaoli and, of course, Unai Emery before him. So I think when you see Khedira getting injured for crucial matches, when you see Marquisio's age ticking up into the 30s, you do start to think, well, maybe Nzonzi can come in, give them a little bit more energy, give them a bit of reliability in the centre of the park, and really shore things up so that Pjanic can do what he does best, which is run the attack. Now, his defensive numbers and passing stats very impressive last season. In the Champions League, averaged more interceptions and tackles per game than Khedira or Pjanic, unsurprising Pjanic. And given that he was playing in that kind of hyper-attacking Sevilla side, like we say, there was an awful lot of pressure on him. Still managed a 91% pass accuracy though, despite the fact that Sampaoli does like that verticality in his game. You know, so it's not all kind of simple passes. So there's that element of composure there as well. The only Juve player to have a higher passing accuracy than that last season was Barzagli, whose role is, of course, a bit more limited now. He's playing centre back.
There's a bit of trivia for you. Barzagli.
Barzagli, he's still phenomenal. What a man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I would quite like this move. The one caveat is that he is 28, and you wonder if Juventus would be better off just paying a bit more money to go for somebody a bit younger. But this is exactly the sort of move we see them doing year after year, and every season they take a player, they make them better, and they have a good run at the Champions League.
And they'll get another 5 years out of them.
Yeah.
Because that's what Italian clubs do. We think this would be a good move. We'd love it if it happened. Thinking Nzonzi deserves the move. What about you guys? Where's he going to end up? Is he going to stay or does he go? Let us know in the poll floating. The next spate of news comes from the Liverpool Echo and the Daily Express, and it is the scourge of Scotland, and it is Oxlade-Chamberlain to Liverpool. What do you make of this, being a Gooner?
Well, reports suggest that Liverpool are willing to pay £40 million for Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, of course, he's in talks over a new contract worth around 100 grand a week, but he's only got 1 year left on his current deal. And Liverpool think that if they make a club record bid, they might tempt Arsenal into selling him. Now, this is the first season he's really kicked on since he arrived at Arsenal in the first place, when he was playing as a winger. This season, he's played as a winger, he's played as a right wing back, as a left wing back, as a central midfielder, and that apparently is where Klopp sees him. He wants to play Oxlade-Chamberlain in the middle of the park. Yeah, he had a pretty good run there earlier in the season, and his numbers are pretty impressive, are they not, Chris?
They are. Well, I've got down here that only Wijnaldum beats his league tally of 7 assists at Liverpool, and he's played nearly double the amount of minutes than the Ox, the Dutchman, which is pretty impressive.
Wow.
And he also created more chances per 90, that's 1.8, than all of Liverpool's midfielders, bar the little magician Coutinho. And he would surely improve that team, wouldn't he? I mean, we were talking about that midfield a second ago, how we find it quite odd, but they are more than the sum of their parts, aren't they? The likes of Chan, Wijnaldum, Jordan Henderson. They don't excel at any one thing, but my God, do they work their socks off, and they really enable Klopp to use his favourite counter-pressing system. But yeah, I mean, as you say, he has that tactical flexibility too. He can play wide or as a wing back. which would be hella useful for Jurgen Klopp. He's needed strength and depth, hasn't he? So if you've got one guy who can tick multiple boxes, then joy, oh joy. And furthermore, his defensive work rate must be a turn-on for the German. McCubbin, he's put turn-on in the script, you dirty dog. He averages 1.8 successful tackles per 90, and while his 0.6 interceptions isn't great compared to the likes of Chan and Jordan Henderson, who are more defensively minded than the Ox, he's a very direct runner, isn't he? This would improve a team, as I say, that presses really, really high and at a high tempo. I can see this, but you've told me that you think he may have signed a contract extension at Arsenal, and I can't see why Wenger would let a player who's fast improving go while keeping someone like Walcott, who seems to be on a terminal decline.
Yeah, I think that the Ox, his complaint has always been not getting enough playing time, and now he is finally starting to get it. So I think that it would make sense for him to stay and maybe see if he can make a spot in the squad his own. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain would be a good signing for Liverpool, or do you think he's going to stay at Arsenal? Let us know in the comments below. Man City are apparently shopping in Mexico now. Pachuca's Irving Lozano is on the shopping list. Chris, what's going on with the kid?
Anecdote alert, before we do anything analytical. Transfer reviews getting fun. Yes, this hombre, his nickname is apparently Chucky, because he hides under his teammates' beds on away days and jumps out and scares them. Well, I assume, I hope it's nothing more sinister than that, like he doesn't stab people. But yeah, he's just 21 years old. He's already made 150 appearances for Pachuca in all competitions, and he scored 43 goals from his wide left position, where he likes to cut in on his right foot. That's what I gathered from the 2 minutes of YouTube clips that I watched prior to shooting this, Pat. Have you got anything more substantial to say?
Well, he could play along the forward line. He's apparently been likened to Kingsley Coman, which is pretty high praise. Yeah, but the question is whether City actually need him. They've got obviously plenty of wide attackers, versatile attackers, and it seems like they'd be more likely to loan him out. A bunch of the sources reporting this say that he'd go to PSV Eindhoven for the next 2 seasons. And you wonder if this is a similar situation to Paddy Roberts going off to Celtic. They've bought this young, exciting attacking player, and now they're going to loan them out until their market value is increased and then probably sell them on. It seems like they're very unlikely ever to play at the Etihad.
Yeah, strange.
The other issue here is that we've heard about Lozano before. We heard him linked with, I believe, Man United last season, and you wonder whether Pachuca are just trying to drum up some business for their star player, see if they can get a bidding war going and get some money. But anyway, PSV have qualified for the Europa League, so they could definitely use Lozano next season, and Man City do like to diversify their assets, so potentially this one might be on the cards, but your guess is as good as ours, basically.
Basically. I mean, isn't Zinchenko on loan at PSV as well?
I don't know, mate. Probably. Whatever.
Man City, hoarding players. Last but not least, it is the transfer shock. Oh, wow. Right, yeah. And it is Mbappe to Liverpool, according to the Daily Mail and the Metro. I mean, Pato, great club, great people, great pedigree. World-class manager, but has he got 100 million to spend on one player?
Who cares,
FSG
mate?
are rubbish.
Who cares, mate? Even if he has it, he's not going to get him. Arsenal have struck out, Chelsea have struck out, Man City have struck out, Real Madrid might even have struck out, but apparently Liverpool reckon that they can get this boy in. I think that Kylian Mbappe is probably staying at Monaco unless Real Madrid go absolutely buck wild. So Jurgen Klopp might just be flexing a little bit. I think that they're trying to get Mo Salah for a cheaper price. So he's just showing that he's got other options. They were linked with Gelson Martins. They were linked with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think that Salah's going to come. I think that Mbappe is going to stay. Bullshit. Cheers to Metro. Always good for a laugh.
Short and sweet. Bit like us. So that was this week's transfer review, guys. Have we missed any stinkers or anything enlightening? Let us know, as always, in the comments.
If you want more transfer information, then maybe go over to Football Daily and check out Transfer Winners and Losers, which Chris and I did, where we look at some of the biggest clubs and their best moves so far. And of course, stay right here on Euro Football Daily and watch Stat Wars. Watch all the episodes of Stat Wars. Give up the rest of your life, quit your job, leave your girlfriend. Watch Stat Wars instead. And like and subscribe, all that shit.
Sounds like a plan.